Tensions between North and South Korea are reaching alarming new heights, with drones flying across borders and fiery threats being exchanged. The Korean Peninsula is on the brink of a serious conflict. But how did we get here? Why are drones being used as a new tool of warfare? And what does this mean for global security? Today, we'll unravel the escalating drone war between North and South Korea and the dangerous implications it could have for the rest of the world. The escalation begins. On multiple occasions in October 2024, North Korea accused South Korea of sending drones over its capital, Pyongyang, allegedly dropping propaganda leaflets critical of Kim Jong-un's regime. These leaflets reportedly criticized the North's focus on military spending at the expense of feeding its citizens. North Korea, furious over these incursions, responded with a menacing threat. Its artillery units near the border were placed on high alert, ready to strike South Korea if the drone flights continued. This aggressive posturing is typical of North Korea's response when it feels threatened by external forces, particularly when its leadership is criticized. But while these threats are concerning, the use of drones adds a new and dangerous dynamic to the long-standing conflict between these two nations. North Korea's fiery rhetoric. The stakes were raised even further when Kim Yo-jong, the powerful sister of Kim Jong-un, described South Korea's actions as suicidal, warning that any further drone intrusions could lead to a horrible disaster for Seoul. She hinted at the possibility of military strikes if South Korea didn't back down, even stating that the South could be reduced to piles of ashes. North Korea's language is deliberately inflammatory, aiming to provoke fear both in South Korea and internationally. But behind these words lies a deeper strategy, using external threats to rally domestic support and maintain the regime's grip on power. Propaganda and psychological warfare. While drones are a technological threat, the use of propaganda is equally important in this conflict. Both countries have been engaged in a bizarre form of psychological warfare for years. North Korea has responded to these alleged drone flights by sending balloons filled with trash across the border as retaliation for South Korean activists who have been flying anti-Pyongyang leaflets into the north. These actions may seem trivial, but they are symbolic. The leaflets criticize Kim Jong-un's authoritarian rule, questioning the regime's legitimacy. North Korea's government is extremely sensitive to these criticisms, which is why the drone flights have hit such a nerve. By flying propaganda over Pyongyang, South Korea is directly challenging the North's narrative of strength and unity under Kim's leadership. The role of drones in modern warfare. Drones have transformed modern conflict, and on the Korean Peninsula, they have introduced a new element of unpredictability. North Korea's accusations against South Korea, while unconfirmed, reflect the growing role of unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, in surveillance and psychological warfare. Whether these drones are used to spy on sensitive military installations or to drop propaganda, they represent a significant breach of sovereignty. North Korea views these intrusions as an existential threat. In response, the North Korean military has issued orders to its artillery units to be on standby for potential retaliation. Any further drone incursions, according to North Korea, could trigger immediate strikes on South Korean targets, potentially leading to a full-scale military confrontation. The nuclear shadow. Beyond drones and leaflets, there's a far more dangerous element to this standoff: nuclear weapons. Since US-led negotiations to denuclearize North Korea fell apart in 2019, Pyongyang has aggressively expanded its nuclear arsenal. North Korea frequently threatens both South Korea and the US with nuclear strikes, claiming that it has the capability to deliver catastrophic damage. While experts generally believe that North Korea would not risk a full-scale war, it would be suicidal given the combined military strength of the US and South Korea. The mere threat of nuclear escalation hangs over every interaction between these two nations. Even a small-scale incident involving drones could escalate out of control, with devastating consequences for the region and the world. South Korea's response and strategic ambiguity. South Korea has remained cautious in its response, neither confirming nor denying the North's accusations of drone flights. This strategic ambiguity allows Seoul to avoid escalating the situation unnecessarily while still maintaining a strong defensive posture. However, the South Korean government has made it clear that if North Korea takes any aggressive action that endangers its citizens, it will retaliate fiercely. In a recent statement, South Korean officials warned that any harm to their citizens could spell the end of the North Korean regime. This strong language underscores the seriousness with which South Korea is treating the current situation. With the US as its close ally, South Korea has the backing of one of the world's most powerful militaries, but it remains deeply vulnerable to the unpredictability of its northern neighbor. The international stakes. As tensions rise, the international community is watching closely. The US plays a critical role in maintaining stability on the Korean Peninsula, and any conflict could draw American forces into a new war in East Asia. Moreover, North Korea's threats and actions come at a time when global attention is focused elsewhere, such as the ongoing conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East. Some analysts believe that North Korea's recent escalation may be timed to coincide with the upcoming US presidential elections, hoping to increase its leverage in future diplomatic negotiations with the US. By creating a crisis, North Korea could force the international community to engage with it, lifting sanctions in exchange for de-escalation. The road ahead: avoiding catastrophe. As the situation on the Korean peninsula remains tense, the possibility of miscalculation looms large. Both sides have much to lose, and while experts agree that a full-blown war is unlikely, even a small mistake could spark a deadly conflict. North Korea's continued threats, combined with its nuclear ambitions, make this one of the most dangerous flashpoints in the world today. For now, both sides are locked in a delicate game of brinkmanship. Whether through drones, propaganda, or military threats, the stakes are high, and the world watches nervously as the Korean peninsula stands on the edge of conflict. The situation between North and South Korea is more precarious than ever, with drones, propaganda, and nuclear threats all in play. While war may seem unlikely, the potential for disaster is real. As we move forward, it's crucial to stay informed about these developments. Thanks for watching Factways. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on this evolving story.